Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Today we are setting up our December bullet journals. I've gone with a festive red and green theme this year. In fact, I'm using the same Archer and Olive acrylograph colors as last year's spread because they were too perfect for the season to not use again. Beginning with the monthly calendar page, I followed the same outline for this spread as I did for November. Each square for each day is 5 boxes tall by 5 boxes wide. I left a 1-box margin around each day so that these squares have a floating effect. I used my N89 Tombow brush pen to fill in these 5 by 5 squares. Throughout this setup, I used the color red for titles, and then I used the color green for heading boxes and other pops of color on the page. I considered including this washi tape right here on the tab and ultimately decided not to go with it. I've included my waterfall tabs again this month. If you've been watching the past couple of months, you'll know how much I'm obsessed with these. However, this time I offset the first tab from the rest of them to be more of a typical tab. You'll see here what I mean in a second. For the waterfall tabs, I cut 7 boxes in from the right for the first tab, and then 5 and 3 and 1 box on subsequent pages. Within the space of that first offset tab, I'm taking my red paint pen and filling in the first 3 letters of the month, and that will be the title for this page. Then I'm using that green color for the heading boxes of the days of the week. And finally, I'm going in with my white paint pen for the names of the days of the week, right over top of those green rectangles. You'll see here that somehow there is a smudge on the lens of my camera, but if you stick it out, you will find out that it will go away in a few minutes. Moving on to my homeschool spreads. These should be familiar to you if you've seen my November bullet journal setup. The left page is our schedule. The first 4 boxes represent the weeks of December. Within those boxes, I'll write the lessons we aim to complete each week. Beneath the boxes is an attendance log, and beneath that attendance log is an area to log any new reads for us. I'm using a red stamp ink and my attachable typewriter stamps for the titles throughout this setup. I used my Tombow brush pen to create a little bit more dimension and shade every other line on my schedule page. Then I'm going in with a green washi tape to finish the edges. The page on the right is a more detailed look at our sessions. Each rectangle here represents 1 week of the month of December. I'll write the date in the corresponding week rectangle and log details from that homeschool session. How many lessons did we complete? How long was our session? What was our mood and attitude during our session? I'll answer some of those questions in these rectangles. Here you'll see that I messed up the dates on our attendance log. I started the month on a Friday instead of a Thursday. So I'm just using an extra piece of paper that I cut from the waterfall tabs and cutting out a 5 by 7 square so that I could just redo and paste it over the messed up version. Such an easy, quick fix. Definitely keep this in mind for those small mess ups in your journal. Continuing with my blog and YouTube content organizational spreads. These are also very similar to my October and November spreads. I really like the red ink stamp titles. I sectioned the top 4 lines on both pages to correspond to the weeks in the month of December. Within these lines, I'll document the videos and blog posts that I'm hoping to publish each week. Beneath that brief list is the option for a bonus video or post. Beneath that bonus post or video option are sets of squares and rectangles that I'll use to further break down some of my ideas for the videos and posts coming out in those weeks. On the right page for my blog, the 4 shaded squares are at-a-glance views of my content in January, even though I wrote December over it instead. That was an accident, and I didn't realize until I started editing this video. Continuing with my checklists and notes spread. This left page will house a few tasks and lists to be addressed before our 3rd baby arrives in January. I have a labor bag checklist, a pre-baby checklist that includes tasks to finish up around the house and maybe on the blog before baby comes. And below those 2 lists, I have a log for freezer meals already made in preparation for baby. If you're looking for some freezer meal inspiration, I'll link my recent video in the description box that includes 8 freezer meals for postpartum recovery. I'll also include the corresponding blog post that has a free downloadable meal plan and grocery list for those meals. The right page here is a simple notes page that has been incredibly useful to me over the past 3 months. Moving on to the final spread in our waterfall tabs, my meal planning layout. This one is self-explanatory and not particularly fancy. I marked out 4 rectangles to represent each week in the month of December. I shaded the outsides of those rectangles and stamped the title of each week in those shaded areas. As I meal plan at the beginning of each week, I'll fill in these rectangles. Continuing with my weekly setup. Last month, I included a Dutch door in the middle of my weekly spread that housed my tasks list and cleaning log for the week. I didn't enjoy flipping that page back and forth throughout the week, so now this month, I am including the entire right margin as a tasks list. The left margin will house events and a monthly heading. The inside of each page will have 3 rectangles 15 boxes wide by 12 boxes tall that will be our days of the week. Now I combined Saturday and Sunday into one box titled Weekend. I brought the festive red into the spread with the monthly heading, which is the same font for the first 3 letters of the month of December. And then I also used the red stamp ink for my tasks list. I brought green into the spread with the labels for the weekly events. And then I also finished the edge of each right margin with some green washi tape. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. What are you including in your December bullet journals? I would love to hear about it down below. Thank you so much again, and I will see you next time.